What up? It's your boy Troy. In this video, I'm gonna break down how I was able to open a business at 22 years old, and most importantly, what I learned from it. Now look, maybe you do have dreams, desires, and ambitions to open your own business. This will be very, very valuable for you. But even if you don't, I want you to stay tuned and listen because there's some powerful skills that'll help you in your professional career and also just your life in general. Let's jump right into it. When you're young, and for me at 22 years old, you don't have a lot of value you can offer to the world. So you're not gonna get paid a lot. There was no leverage that I had over anything. And so that was the first thing I had to discover and unpack, was to learn about leverage. Initially, you trade time for money. That's the life of an employee. Nothing wrong with that, but I wanted to get to a point where I could exchange value for money. Now, initially, when you don't have a lot of value to offer, you're not gonna get paid a lot. But as you learn to increase your value, then you can exponentially increase the time you get paid for it. So for me, what took place was I was always a good athlete. And so I found myself working at gyms. And initially it was the front desk. I was not good at that. I was exchanging time for money, and they weren't paying me a lot for my time because I wasn't very good at it. Fortunately for me, I had a manager who one day came up and was like, "Troy, have you ever thought about being a personal trainer?" And I was like, "Not really. I don't know if I could do that." I didn't have a lot of confidence at that time in my life. He kind of took me aside and I was like, "Man, I think you could do this. Here's how you do it. You go take this test, you pass the test, come back and we'll get you a job. We'll set you up." And so I went and did that. And even to take the test at the time was very challenging for me, but fortunately after a couple tries, I passed the test and I'm in there, I'm a personal trainer. And right away what I found out is I had leverage because I understood how the body moved. I understood something about nutrition. I was able to take those skills that I learned as a kid and now apply them as an adult. So the first thing I want you to do is look at where you might naturally already have leverage, and if you don't, that's okay, because you're gonna quickly create it. And what you're looking for is these windows of opportunity. So meaning it doesn't have to be something big. Like you might literally learn how to go create logos for people. So you go to businesses and you're like, "Hey, I'd love to help you improve your logo." Then you're like, "I'd love to draw something up for you. If you like it, we'll go ahead and work something out." Yes, it takes you some time, but what you're actually learning to do is create value, and then you can, again, exponentially charge for it. Like initially you're not charging that much, but over time you charge more and more. Maybe it's photography and you learn how to take product photos. You go to these businesses and you're like, product photos can drastically increase your revenue if you use them on your social media. I notice you have no product photos. I would love to do that for you. And here's what I'm gonna charge you to do it. Boom, instant value for them. You're always looking for win-win situations. Their business wins by increasing their revenue through your offer, right? And then you win by you getting to charge some money for it. And then once you get good at that, you've narrowed down on a niche and you go more and more and deeper and deeper and deeper, and you have leverage. You become the best in the world at that thing, and it's game over. So again, what you're actually looking for, what really matters in business, yes, it's the X's and O's. You gotta figure those things out. Those will come easy actually, but the harder thing is understanding this. How do I create leverage? This is what will actually make you fucking money at the end of the day. Now, how do you accelerate this process? The second thing you must learn to do is find mentors. This is where I was really able to separate myself from others. And so what happened for me is I wanted to open my own business, right? I started as a personal trainer. I'm liking it. I'm getting paid decent for my age. Then I'm like, yo, I wanna make more money at this. How do I do this? I wanna create my own business. I wanna create my own gym. And initially I started small. So it wasn't this big brick and mortar business. What I did is I went out and I found a problem and I created this solution. So I found a gym that had no personal trainers. And I went to them and I was like, "Hey, I've been doing this for a little while now. I'm pretty good at it. What I would like to do is hire other trainers, train them, teach them the skills that I've learned, and then help build a personal training department for you. And we'll give you a percentage of the revenue that we made." Do you think they'd say no to making more money? Absolutely not. Next thing you know, I'm in business, 22 years old, we're building a personal training department and making money. So then I knew if I increased my leverage, the value I could offer, I was gonna make more money. So I started going to these industry events, these different workshops and little events they had all over the country. I would save up my money and I would go to these industry events. I was learning to invest in myself and allow myself the opportunity to learn from others. I remember the day I'm at this workshop and I'm watching this guy who had been in business already for 20 years, built a personal training business into something very successful. And I'm watching, I like the guy's energy, I'm sitting back. I'm like, yo, I wanna learn from this guy. So what did I do next? I followed him to all the different events he spoke at. So I'd go to this event, I'd go to that event. And the next thing you know, he started to notice me. He's like, "Yo, what's up, man? It's good to see you again. What's going on? Boom, boom, boom." And so one day I finally get the opportunity to ask him, like, "Hey, I wanna open my own business, something like very similar to you have done. How do I do that?" He goes, "I'm actually gonna start my own mastermind group where we can all kind of work together and you can learn from me. What I've learned over the last 2 decades, I'll share with you. You must learn at some point to invest into yourself." Again, keyword investments. What do investments do? They pay back. It's not an expense when you learn to invest in yourself. and learn to double down on you. So in this moment, I invest in myself. I now have a mentor, and this is what we call a shortcut. So I essentially am able to learn what took him 20 years to learn now in just a few years. And before you know it, 2 years later, I opened my own brick and mortar business. A couple years after that, I expand my business into multiple locations. After that, I'm teaching at industry events. I'm writing nationally published articles and so much more that I never would have imagined happened. So when you hear those details from the outside, it's easy to assume like, oh, it must be nice for me. You had this thing happen or that thing happen. There was no shortcuts for me other than the ones I'm showing you right now. It was literally learning how to create leverage, starting with no capital, no money, and going, hey, there's a problem here. How do I create a solution? I built my leverage up more and more and more. And then let me go find some mentors who I can learn from. Strangely, it was almost like instinctually that I found these things. I was like, how do I get better at this? I'm not very good. Like, where do I learn these things from? At the time, YouTube wasn't even a thing. This is like over 2 decades ago. So I actually had to go seek out mentors in person to learn from them. And then lastly, the only thing that you actually need to understand is that the obstacle truly is the way. And what that essentially means is that there's going to be challenges along the journey. There's going to be situations that you go like, damn, do I really have to do this or learn from this situation? I just mentioned how I wrote these nationally published articles at a young age. I actually had my own column for our local newspaper. But here's what I want you to understand is that when I graduated high school, I could barely write a complete sentence. Like, I have examples of this. I have emails where I wrote these long run-on sentences, and like instead of writing Y-O-U, I just wrote you. Like, I didn't understand these nuances at all. But then someone told me, if you want to move forward in your professional career, you're gonna have to get good at your verbal and written communication skills. So I literally went on a journey. I found the obstacle and I knew that that was the way. And so I taught myself how to become a good writer. I taught myself how to speak better. Like, early in my business, I had these boot camps, these like fitness boot camps where people would come, a handful of people initially. And I can remember writing down the little motivational quotes on my 3x5 card and the things that we were gonna do. And I'd stand really far away from everybody because I was so shy, I was so nervous. And I'd be like, your attitude is your altitude. I did this over and over again until one day I got rid of that 3x5 card. And the next thing you know, I'm leading groups of 65 plus people in my boot camps. But it wasn't until I learned to embrace the obstacle that opened a path, a doorway to success. So my friend, when you think about business, when you think about life, understand it's not just the X's and O's. That's the way your brain actually finds excuses not to do the thing. What you actually need to understand is these 3 things right here. When you understand and move towards these, you will create success. Now look, I made this video for free for you to help you out in life. I hope I've been one of your mentors in this moment. So if you could do me the favor and simply like the video, share to somebody who might benefit from this, and subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it means so much. I appreciate you. I'm here to help you on your journey. And until next time, peace.